paraphrased version of what this was about, for a short, sweet version, hence I say, find out more, use the internet, is that a large number of people, and from what I've seen, between 60 to 80,000 people congregated in St. Petersfield in Manchester, England, for a peaceful protest. And it truly was, by all accounts, from what I can find, a peaceful protest. Not a single one of these people was causing violence. They were just protesting at what we would call these days political measures and rules that were being brought in against them and their businesses and livelihoods and lives and way of lives at the time. Things they didn't disagree with and felt that they should have a say in. But they made a peaceful protest. But the powers that be didn't want other people to see, well, there's 68 to 80,000 people there, and whilst we may not be brave enough or angered enough to go and join that crowd, we can talk and tell other people, and it would spread that disharmony, that civil unrest, further and further and further. Even though there wasn't an internet then, word of mouth would have still been able to make things travel around the country and the world. And they didn't want that happening, because then that affects their grasp on power and control. So they sent in the cavalry, and lots of people, according to the accounts, got physically injured. I mean, of the people who were doing the peaceful protest. They authorised physical harm against members of the public having a peaceful protest. Okay? Bear that in mind. The powers that be authorised physical harm for what they would argue is the greater good, but in truth deciphered means is enabling them to retain control and power, because that'll become relevant later when we talk about false flag events. So they authorised physical violence against people to regain control, and then afterwards, after they managed to get this dispersed and brought to an end, that Peterloo Massacre, the protest, the peaceful protest that led up to it, they passed 6 acts of law, 6 acts of parliament, which we call them. And it's known as the 6 acts. If you search it, if you search Peterloo Massacre 6 acts, these were brought in to suppress any form of radical reform. These were laws that were brought in to stop people, if they wanted, having peaceful protest, to stop people speaking out, to stop people having their rightful say as a human being on this earth. In other words, there were 6 acts brought in purposely for one sole aim, for the powers that be to retain control and power over the mass populace, which is the key. Keeping power over people and authority makes it easier for them to create then situations where fear can be instilled, false evidence against reality or false evidence appearing real, to instill confusion and disorientation in people, which keeps people in that freeze section of fight, flight, freeze, where what do I do, what do I do, so that they then become blind to the world of opportunities that's truly open to them if they start to question everything and realise that, you know what, they can have a say. And if we band together in a peaceful way, we have more power than ever now with the internet that can be used as a positive force. But that's why more and more rapidly restrictions are being brought in to try and control social media. In some ways that's good, but in other ways it's about the fact that the powers that be are scared that more and more people are actually starting to wake up and see through the plan. So, you know, our journey will begin on the 16th of August 1819 with Peterloo Massacre in this example, but in truth you go back through history full stop and it's always been that the powers that be, the people with the most money at the top of the tree or the most land owning families, have always caused some level of fear and confusion and disorientation in those below them. That's how it's always been, and there's a reason, because that's when they've got control.